Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our LAJA talk on finance and tax saving things, which we are having today with our guest, Ms. Hetal. Uh, Let me introduce
Hello.
LAJA to all of you. LAJA is India's first forum that focuses on the learning, growth, development, and self-empowerment of women. We have multiple chapters across the country and have multiple segments, including Unnati Ki Pathshala that focuses on skill development, mentorship, where mentors handhold and guide you in your businesses. We have Tattva, our annual conclave that does in-depth dive event of a topic. Laja TV, wherein we invite women achievers to an interview to share their journey. Laja Talks, the only platform for women in India to showcase their strengths and share their life stories to inspire others. We have coffee meets, buddy support, and monthly audits. The LAJA Finance segment is new, and this is our second live, which we are conducting in the same month. And here we will be having some discussions so that we can help you guide how to save your money in a better way, how taxations, whatever you can save it in a bit way, and then, yeah, how to grow your money. So let's welcome Hetal here, who is a chartered accountant, practicing chartered accountant since 2003. And she has a good amount of knowledge in this field in taxation, GST, guiding her clients with taxation and return filings. Hi, Hetal.
Hello. Hello, Mansi. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi. So coming towards the taxation period, since we are left with only 1.5 months in our hand, can you just guide us regards to tax regime, which is better to choose, whether the old regime or the new regime?
Mansi, as the choosing between old regime and new regime would totally depend on your income slab and the deductions which are available at your hand. Now, suppose if you have an income which is less than 7.5 lakhs per annum, then you need not invest anything and there will be a zero tax liability in that case. That's in the new regime. Old regime, the income tax will not be there above income of rupees 5 lakhs. So the 5 lakhs is a slab. So if you are earning anything more than 5 lakh, will be taxed and in old regime. So now from financial year 23-24, Government of India has made new tax regime as the default tax regime. Earlier, you had option to choose either old and new, and old was the default tax regime. So from financial year, to make it a little simpler, government has made from 23-24 onwards financial new tax regime as a default tax regime. So if you have to apply, so if you have to choose an old tax regime, you have to file your returns before the due date, and you have to upload a particular form requesting the government that you need to choose that old tax regime instead of a new tax regime. So it all also depends, like suppose if you have a housing loan, which is you're paying an interest which is more than 2 lakh rupees. If you already have a full-fledged ATC deduction, which includes children's school fees, which includes PPF, which includes your provident fund, employee provident fund amount, which has your LICs. In that case, you will have to compare. There is a tax calculator. We have to compare that what is more beneficial for you, and accordingly, you can go. So generally, if you have an income up to say 16 lakhs, and though you have full deduction of say all the deductions like income from house property and income under section ATC, mediclaim, everything, then in that case, both the tax regime has the same amount of tax.
Right. So, ladies, there are various sections where you can gain benefits from taxation. Some of the benefits in Section 80C are like investing in bank FDs for 5 years, then your national savings certificate, then your insurance policies, your PPF, your PF, ELSS.
Tax saving mutual funds. Tax saving mutual funds.
ELSS, right. Then the tuition fees, even the principal amount which you pay on your home loan. So these benefits can help you in this section ATC up to 1,50,000. So whatever is your income, that income straight away cuts down with this 1,50,000, whatever you have saved in any of the avenues over here. And then gradually, whatever your net income remains, 1,50,000 will Now there's Section 80D, wherein you get up to 25,000 for mediclaim benefit. You have for your parents' mediclaim who are dependent on you. If they are not senior citizens, then it is again 25,000. If they are senior citizens, then you can claim additional 50,000 for your parents as well.
50,000. Right.
That can also cut down your taxation to certain level. Then there is Section 80G, where you can give donations to charitable institutions, NGOs, which are registered under the Act. That can also help you to cut down. Then Section 80CCD, which helps you with NPS, National Pension Scheme. That is again unique linked, and that is over and above Section 80C, which helps you again to bring down your income. And every investment has a purpose. So Section 80C is particularly for your pension thing. So whatever money you invest, even at the age of say 20, 30, 40, everything will be, you will start receiving only after the age of 60. So considering all those factors, you have to invest your money accordingly. Right?
There's one more reduction, Mansi. You must have heard of HRA, which is available to salaried employee. Right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah, for people who are not salaried and if they have their own business, they can also claim rent under Section 80 GGA.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So a rent of per annum 72,000, you can get a deduction of 70 to maximum up to 72,000 under Section 80 GGA.
Okay. For entrepreneurs, like that will be
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
helpful, wherein
Yeah.
they can get. But then
Yes.
rent, the agreement should be in that person's name, right?
No need to attach a rent agreement. Of course, you need to file one form. There has to be a landlord's name and landlord's PAN number. You just have to upload those simple details on the website, and then you can claim the deduction under Section 80 GGA.
Good, good. That's good. Even Section 80E, wherein we have people whose children are going abroad for higher
Higher
studies.
education. Yeah.
Even if they are in India, whatever higher education loans they borrow. So in Section 80E, you get that benefit as well, wherein you can claim.
And the good thing about is there is no amount, there is no cap on it.
Limit.
So whatever interest amount is there, you can always claim that as deduction.
Correct. Even for our entrepreneurs, there would be some business loan, right? For
Correct.
various.
Yeah, there are this budget 2024, especially our finance minister Nirmala Sitaram has laid down some policies which are yet to come. They have laid down some mudra loans for specifically for female entrepreneurs. Maybe the policies would be just laid down in few days or few time. So they are basically mudra loans just to help the female entrepreneurs. Yeah.
Right. And they can.
So viewers can always look for these mudra loans with State Bank of India or any nationalized bank soon. So this will have which will have a moratorium period or a lesser rate of interest, or interest payment would be delayed for some amount of time. These all are all the properties of that loan.
Yeah. So even regards to if there is any dependent on on yourself, right? You can, or this with a disability, you can always have that benefit as well under Section 80 DDB for whatever expenses you have incurred. Depending on the severity, you can also have that benefit. There are certain diseases which are specified in the taxation laws. So if you fall in that category, you can always go ahead and you can claim that benefit as well, since you are spending for the treatment of your disabled family member. Then, there is again something related to donation to the this political party, wherein you get some tax benefit for that as well.
Yeah, there is a donation to political parties, and there is donation to scientific research development things, where you can get a donation of 125% instead of 100%. You get a donation deduction of 125%.
Right. Then even on the interest, what you earn on the FDs, right? So under Section 80 TTB, I think it comes
TTB, yeah, 80 TTB, and if you're a senior citizen, you have an exemption of 50,000 rupees.
Okay, 80 TTA and TTB. 80 TTB is for senior citizens.
For senior citizens, 80 TTB is for senior citizens, and the amount is 50,000 rupees, and 80 TTA is for a normal individual, and the deduction amount is maximum 10,000 rupees.
Right. So, regards to this women entrepreneurs group which we have, right? So, what expenses can they claim for so that they can avail of maximum tax benefit? in their
Yeah. See, as the business section 36 under the Income Tax Act says that whatever expenses you do to earn your earning of business is all expenses are deductible expenses. Right? So you just have to prove that these are the expenses which are necessary for doing your business. So all the
right.
necessary expenses which are all the expenses which are necessary to do the business, you can always claim there's expenses. Even suppose sometimes if you don't have an income, it may happen that you
Hmm.
just start a business and you don't have an income, but you have to do research and development. Maybe you have to do digital marketing. Maybe
Hmm.
other
Hmm.
expenses. You have to keep a person as salaried employee. A fixed costs are there. Whether sometimes in cases where there are fixed costs, whether business happens or no, there are fixed costs like rent, office expenses. Even if you don't have the income, you can always claim those as expenses. Only one thing which has to be kept in mind is that even for the entrepreneurs who just begin, and if they have income, if they have a negative income, say if they have a loss, they need to file their
Hmm.
returns on time. Yeah. So once
Okay.
if you file your return on time, yeah. So only if then you can take that benefit, you can carry forward that loss to the next financial year, and next financial year, if you are at profit, you can set off, you can set off that past year's loss against that current year's income. But the only condition is that return has to be filed within the due date,
Okay.
which is which is 31st July 22 if you have if you don't have a tax audit, and if you have a tax audit, then it's a 30th September. Yeah.
So with regards to okay. And with
Yeah.
regards to this losses, is there any
Yeah.
particular period, number of years wherein they can take benefit
Yeah, you
of
can
these
carry forward these
losses?
losses for 8 years. 8 years.
Up to 8 years, they can take
Yes.
these
Yes.
expenses as a deduction. So any
Yes. Yes.
percentage, any particular percentage,
No,
like
not expenses. I mean to say, if till up to 8 years, you can carry forward a particular year's loss. Suppose financial
yeah,
year.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but is there any percentage that you divide it into 8 years? Like suppose if I am
No, no, no,
having,
no. Suppose if I've made a loss of 50,000 this year, and for
hmm,
next financial year, if I have a profit of 60,000 rupees, so I
okay.
have an opportunity to set off my 50,000 loss of my previous year, and only my 10,000 my income would be taxable.
Okay, okay. But what in case if suppose if a person is not able to take the entire deduction of losses in one particular year, so
Yeah,
can
so
they divide
that
in?
loss, suppose now, like, as you said, if an example, if I have a profit of in next year, if I have a profit of 30,000 rupees,
Hmm,
okay, so 30, and I have a loss of 50,000. So that
hmm.
20,000, even again, I can carry forward further.
Right, right. And that could also be like we had a pandemic like situation wherein people have not earned a good decent amount of income during the 2 years.
Right,
The businesses
correct,
haven't worked well. So in that case,
right.
the 2 years which they have incurred losses because the rents and other salaries and other expenses were
Yeah, fixed
on,
cost. Yeah,
right? That
yeah,
was
correct,
happening around, even though they have not been able to generate income. So in that
correct.
case, the losses for that 2 years can be taken ahead because
Yeah,
for a business
can be
to
carried
again
forward.
come back.
Only condition is, which is very important, please file your returns in time.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So that is
definitely.
not available. That benefit is not available to the people who are filing belated returns.
Okay, okay, right, right. So, I think, ladies, this is a very wonderful point which we have come to know that we all know that not a single business or maybe not all businesses will make profit immediately the next year, the year we launch, right? We always have that ups and downs coming in. Sometimes we don't get paid on time. Sometimes something or the other keeps on coming. So, this is the advantage wherein you can, even if there are losses, you can take those expenses ahead for another few number of years, and you can still give it a try that yeah, keep on trying maybe another for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, because you have that facility for income tax purpose, right, which you can gradually.
Even in certain, even in certain cases, Mansi, if an entrepreneur is into some technology innovation or
Hmm,
something which is new, you can get
right.
yourself registered under Startup India, and
Hmm,
then there are, in that case, there are
okay,
tax holidays for 3 years, 5 years, depending on what into what you are into, basically. But of course, there you have to get yourself registered with Startup India first, and then they have
okay,
got a list of things whether you are eligible for such tax holidays or not. So
okay.
this is one more benefit which the government is giving you.
Okay, okay. So, Hital, anything related to depreciation, if suppose if they have any assets, like these entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
if they have any assets,
Yeah.
so how can they take the deduction for depreciation of
Yeah,
such?
deduction, they can always take deduction of depreciation. There are prescribed rates as per Income Tax Act. And as per that, those income tax rate, they can claim the depreciation. If the asset is bought after the 180 days of the financial year, then you get half depreciation. Otherwise, if your asset is put to use for more than 180 days, you get full year depreciation.
Okay. Right,
Yeah.
right. So whatever machinery, equipments
Yeah.
and vehicles, buildings, so many things
Yes,
we
yes.
have, right?
Yes,
To
yes, yes.
as a warehouse, as a storage,
Yeah,
or
you have office, you have even office furnitures, right? So plant and machinery definition for all different type of assessee is different. Like suppose if I am a camera artist, for me, my camera is my plant and machinery. So you can claim even depreciation on your camera, shooting equipments and all. Suppose if somebody is a manufacturer, for them, their machinery is their plant and machinery, right? So they can
right,
claim depreciation on that, right? So
right.
even if you have your own car, which you are using for your business, and if the car is in the company's name, you can even claim depreciation against your car. Right?
Hmm. Even
Yeah.
like in corporation, in the people who are salaried, they again claim deductions for petrol and all those things. So is that
Yeah.
benefit available to businesses as well?
Yes,
Wherein,
business also, they are also have these benefits are also available with business peoples. If in their business, if they own a car, they can always claim all the expenses which are related to car. If the car is used in the business, if they are able to prove that the car is used in the business, they can claim all expenses related to the car, say petrol, say repair and maintenance, uh, wear and tear. Everything can be claimed as expenses.
so the petrol and all other expenses should be
Yeah.
particularly paid by the person himself who runs the business to claim the expenses.
Yeah, it can be paid by himself. It can be paid. Suppose if not petrol, like yeah, you can even give the benefit to your employee. Suppose if your area employee is using his own vehicle, and as a company, if he is
Hmm.
using his own vehicle for the company's benefit, so even you can reimburse those expenses to your employees, and that also can be claimed as expenses in the books of accounts.
Okay, okay, okay. There are certain benefits related to export promotion expenses as well, wherein some entrepreneurs who would be exporting their, their designs or maybe the different things, right? There's certain,
Yeah.
is there any amount for that, or that is
No,
again,
see, earlier there were specific deductions for exports. So
hmm,
now there are no export earnings earlier were exempt from tax, and there were Section 80 HHC. There were earlier, which is I'm talking about long back, say more than 15 years ago. Now there is no specific deduction for export earnings. But whatever
okay.
export you do, yeah, and you have made any expenses related to that export, you can always claim that as a deduction.
Okay, okay, okay. And then that SEZ section where
Yeah.
you have
See,
your
those
units.
all SEZ and export, they have got indirect taxes. There were a lot of benefits whereby amount of GST is not charged to them, or maybe they are not supposed to charge GST in that case.
Okay. And
Yeah.
yeah, if there are certain big businesses, right? Like if they contribute for their employees. So what is the
If
amount
they, if they, if they, I
the
didn't get you, sorry.
businesses
Yeah.
who have, their employees and who also contribute for their provident fund.
Yeah.
So what is the
Yeah.
minimum requirement for that?
Yeah, see, if you are a business owner and if you have more than 20 employees, which if you have more than 20 employees, then you compulsory have to deduct their PF. Okay.
Okay.
And for more than 10 employees, you have compulsory to pay their ESIC.
Okay. Okay. Even
Yeah.
for ESIC,
So
there is the income bracket, right? So
yeah, it's
20,
20,000.
20,000.
20,000.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
so
21,000.
anybody,
Yeah. Right.
so
Yeah,
the
yeah.
incomes,
And for PF, the maximum range is 15,000. So if you have salary people who are having the basic salary less than 15,000, it's compulsory for an employer to deduct their TD, to deduct the PF and pay to the government.
you mean to say PF, right?
PF, Provident Fund, Employee
Okay.
Provident Fund,
Okay.
Employee
Okay.
Provident Fund. Yeah,
So
they
it
need
is
to
up to,
register with Employee Provident Fund office, and one portion will every month. So one portion is their contribution, and one is a deduction from these from the employee, and that 2 contribution is to be deposited with the employee provident fund office. And up to 5 years, the employee cannot withdraw that money. After 5 years, the employee can withdraw that.
Right, right. And regards to profession tax, so if suppose we have small entrepreneurs, right, and who have say 2 to 3 people working for them, they have payroll and they have their salary deduction, wages, and all those things. So they can deduct their profession tax, and they can also
they have to deduct if your salary is more than 10,000, they have to deduct the profession tax.
Okay, and the employer
profession tax is 2,500 per annum.
Right, right, right.
Yeah, so which is monthly. Yeah, monthly 200 rupees, and for the month of February, it's 300 rupees.
Okay.
And even if an entrepreneur is a private limited company, suppose they are a private limited company is also supposed to pay their profession tax.
Okay. So individually,
profession tax is exempt from for a senior citizen. Yeah. So suppose if I'm an entrepreneur, if I'm a chartered accountant, and if I also have to pay my own profession tax to the government, which is 2,500 per annum.
Right. So as an individual, when we file our returns, a proprietor or something, we pay a profession tax. But if we are also have a registered company, public limited or private limited, even LLPs for that matter.
No, LLPs don't have to.
They don't have.
Their partners will pay. Their partners will pay. Okay. Designated partners have to pay.
Okay. Okay. Fine. So any points would you like to share related to GST? Because I am sure some entrepreneurs from our group would be having that. What is the minimum amount? And if you can throw some light on that.
Yeah. See, GST, if you are into a business, the cap is 40 lakhs. And if you are into a profession, the cap is 20 lakhs. So till 20 lakhs, if you are a professional, you need not enroll for the GST. Until 40 lakhs, if you're doing any business, if your turnover is up to 40 lakhs, then you have to, you need to, over and above the turnover crosses 40 lakhs, you need to enroll for your GST.
Okay.
So yeah.
So this 20 lakhs.
Voluntary, if you have taken once voluntary, even if you don't have, because nowadays what happens if you are a professional, or if you're a business, and there are companies to whom you deal with, they have got a vendor registration form, and they need people to take their registration number. Even your turnover is even not crossing. In such cases, once you take a GST number, it is compulsory for you to raise the invoice. For every invoice raised, you have to charge GST, even if your turnover is not gone more than 40 lakhs, or even if the turnover is not gone more than 20 lakhs.
Oh.
So once if the number is taken, you have to charge GST. Yeah, so you cannot wait up to the turnover crossing 40 lakhs. But if once you have taken the GST number, your liability starts from the next day onwards.
Okay. So now this 20 lakhs, is it a gross figure, or after all the deductions which we discussed?
No, it's a gross turnover. It's a gross turnover.
Okay. So once your income, your profits, right? Once you cross that 20 lakhs figure, you have to compulsorily register for the GST thing.
Correct. And for exports, for interstate sales between 2 states, right? If I'm a business person, and if I'm not selling within Maharashtra, I'm selling even out of Maharashtra, then also it becomes compulsory. Even your turnover is not seen in that case, and even a 1 rupee turnover would be liable to GST.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this applies.
And suppose if you're doing export, if you're doing an export and you still just started your first consignment in the export consignment. So for export also, though there is no GST, but then if you have started your exports, then you have to take the GST number. Then maybe you have to apply to the government of India for LUT, which is called letter of undertaking, whereby you can ask the government that, since you're exporting something, you want permission from the government declaring that you're making exports and you don't want GST to be charged, and you can, but then you have to take GST registration.
Right. So Hetal, there's one question, like how about people giving salary in cash? So what would be the effect from taxation point of view?
Generally people should avoid giving salary in cash, because there is one section in income tax whereby you cannot make payment of more than 10,000 in cash. So up to that amount it's fine. But generally, because even our government, even our prime minister is he's encouraging go digital, right? So even if you have go, so it's better people start giving up things in check and can claim better deduction.
Yeah, but I think there is some amount which is allowed, like up to 5,000 or something, 10,000 a
10.
month. Okay.
No, a
So,
particular transaction, 10,000 up to, suppose if I have to pay monthly salary, I can pay up to 10,000 in cash.
okay. So if suppose if I have 3 or 4
If suppose monthly
employees
salary is 50,000, I can't pay for cash.
in cash.
Yeah.
But if I
Yes,
have
there are even some harsh sections which says that suppose if you have made a sale, a bill which is of 2 lakh rupees, and your vendor says that he wants to give you cash when your bill is about 2 lakh rupees, you cannot accept cash in that amount also. So once the restriction is also on payment, and restriction is also on receipt. So there is 100% penalty if you have a bill which is particularly more than a 2 lakh rupees, and if you have accepted cash, then there is 100% penalty on it. Yeah.
So if suppose if I have 4 employees, right, and everybody earns a salary less than 10,000, so in that case it is okay if I pay them in cash.
A particular transaction, it's counted by a particular transaction.
Okay. But then, like suppose if I, as you said, for an employee who has a car and I pay for petrol expenses and all, do I also get those deductions if I'm paying the salary in cash?
Yeah, that is a different transaction, no, altogether. So now you have to account in your books of account in that way. So because that will not go under head salary. Suppose if I am paying an X amount of 10,000 rupees as salary, and say 2,000 rupees as his reimbursement, right? But the 2,000 rupees is on account of reimbursement, on account of petrol, on account of conveyance. So that is a different transaction which is to be recorded in the books of accounts. And 10,000 is a different transaction which is to be recorded in books of accounts as salary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So benefits you can still avail even if you are paying,
Yeah, you
making
can
the
avail
payments
the
in cash.
benefits, but slowly, I think it's time to go.
Yeah. Everything is going towards making white.
Yeah.
The more we
Digitally.
be, the more we be
Because
transparent.
government is giving you a good benefit. There's a section, there's one section 44 AD, which says that certain business houses, if have a turnover up to say 2 crore rupees, they can flat, if they are doing everything in check. Okay, they can flat just declare 6% of their profits of the turnover, and they no need to maintain books of accounts. Yeah. So the government is giving good benefits. Yeah. So
Okay. So there's one more question coming up. Let me check. So what about when client asks to cancel or raise invoice and send consolidated invoice?
Can this question be elaborated? Because if there are cases whereby client can ask to cancel the invoice, and you can always raise a consolidated invoice. But suppose if you're a GST registered person and you have already registered a particular bill, say in the month of October, and client requests you to cancel that invoice and issue a new invoice in next month, but then you have to reverse that invoice first, and again you have to issue a new invoice, which again has implications. If it is a non-GST transaction, it's okay, but if it's a GST transaction, again there are implications. You already have paid GST for that particular invoice, and now again if he asks, you have to reverse that GST invoice, and you have to reverse on the portal, in the GST portal, and again give a new invoice. So if some circumstances are there, if something can be proved relating to services, relating to trade, you can cancel that invoice and issue a new invoices.
Right. So even for these entrepreneurs which are borrowing some capital or some loans for their expanding their business, or startup or something, there is some section the government has also provided some backup to them, that if the bills are not paid within 30 days, so something related to
That's an
that?
MSME registration. Yeah. So all the entrepreneurs who are who fit into the definition of MSME, which is I think generally all would fit because it has got a very big turnover limit. Then if you are an MSME registered person and if your payment is not given by a limited company or a private limited company within 45 days, you can always then that amount will be disallowable to them. So generally, that's a benefit. So all the entrepreneurs should get their MSME registration,
Hmm.
and they declare with the people whom they deal with that they are MSME to see that they get their money in time.
Right. So in that
Yeah,
case, the person who has defaulted the payment for the within the
yeah,
next
yeah.
45 days, this amount will
Correct.
be treated as
Is also liable to pay interest to the party, and for them that amount would be for the new development is for them the amount would even be disallowed as an expense.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
So this
So
is
suppose if I have purchased something from you and you are an MSME, and if
hmm.
I cannot pay you within that due date, that amount would be disallowed. That will not be allowed as an expense.
So this is some very great step towards enforcing the laws for the
That's right.
entrepreneurs kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
we have seen a lot of entrepreneurs always having that credit for their businesses going for three
Yeah.
months, 6 months, and all.
Correct.
So the
Yeah.
cycle is so bad sometimes that whatever comes in goes in, whatever comes in goes
Yeah.
in. So they are
Correct.
always in that stress that I'm not
Yeah.
able to, make benefits out of what actually the
Correct.
businesses or the struggle which they are going through.
Right.
This
Right.
is a great step. And yeah, definitely we would urge all the entrepreneurs to get themselves registered under the MSME Act. So is
Yeah.
there any, what is the fees or something if you can guide us for
No,
that
there
MSME?
are no fees. It's the form is quite simple. You can go to MSME website and put your Aadhaar number, put your PAN number, put your all business details, your last 2 years income tax return details, and the in a day's time the form is approved and you can just print a certificate from the website.
Okay, that's good. That's
Yeah,
pretty much easy, right?
you need not hire any professional to even to get yourself MSME registered.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
And regards to that,
it's a very self-driven form, which you can easily fill up. It's all got your own all basic details. Right?
okay, okay, right. Even this Udyam Aadhaar, that is
Yeah, that
also
is
for the,
MSME only. That's MSME. Yeah.
okay, that is also for that, there would be some charges, I suppose, for
No, there are no charges. So there are no
no
charges. That's
charges.
why. So once you no charges, no charges. If it's a government
Oh,
website, there are no charges. But when you put in Google MSME or Udyog Aadhaar, if you there's a list of website which draws and there are they the word written is sponsored. So please don't click into that website because those are the paid websites. Those are the service providers who can apply Udyam on your behalf. So there is a
okay.
specific government website, which is MSME website. Then there are no charges.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So one question which has come is what about lump sum payment against GST invoice? Uh,
Uh, See, even I am as far as I understand, the question means that suppose if I've raised a bill of 10,000 and 18% is the GST, which is so my total amount is 11,800 example. And even if I've just received a lump sum payment of say 7,000 against my whole invoice. So how do I discharge my GST? I believe this would be the question.
so
If
yeah,
you have,
even I
yeah,
think the GST return
yeah.
filing is every quarterly you need to file that.
No, it's
Uh,
every monthly. Do you have an option of doing it monthly and quarterly both? Right,
okay.
right. So in
So
this case, if that is the question, that suppose if you have raised an invoice of say 11,800, which is GST, and you just received a lump sum payment of 8,000 rupees, balance is remaining. What is this GST liability which is to be executed? Of course, when you have raised the invoice of 10,000 and the GST liability is 1,800, you are supposed to discharge that 1,800 only, even if you have received a lump sum payment of 8,000 rupees.
okay. And as you said, monthly and quarterly. So if in a particular month an entrepreneur has forgotten to file, so is it
Yeah.
possible that after 3 months or after 6 months they can always do that?
Yeah, no. So the thing is that once the liability, if you have chosen monthly billing, monthly filing the returns, so you can if one particular month if you have skipped or if you have filed the returns, you had transaction and by inadvertently you filed a nil return. So next month you can include those invoices and file the return again. So there are basically there are two returns. One is GSTR 1 and one is GSTR 3B. So only when you have filed the 3B return, you are allowed to file the next month's one return. Otherwise, you know what people used to do earlier? They used to file one return. GSTR 1 is uploading the sales invoice. So if I have bought something from you, and if I will upload the sales invoice that I've sold something to Mansi, Mansi will get the credit because your credit will be visible on the portal. And the next, after 10 days, there is a due date of GSTR 3B return, which is the payment return. GSTR 1 return is just uploading the invoices, so the other person can get the credits. And 3B return is my payment return, that I have done this much sales, this much is my purchases. I will net off both, and whatever is the balance liability, I will pay to the government. So earlier people used to, what they used to do, they just used to file GSTR return 1, and they never used to file GSTR 3B. So once you have got the credit, you have no complaint, right? So now government has changed the rule. So if I have filed GSTR 1 and if I have filed GSTR 3B, then only I will be able to upload the next month's GSTR return 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in case, if in a particular period, for some reasons, like for some reason, if an enterpreneur is not able to file the return in that particular month, is there any penalty for that?
There are. So as of now, there are no penalties for GSTR 1. For GSTR 3B, which is a payment return, which is a summary return for paying your tax, for discharging your tax. If there is a delay, there's a penalty of ₹50 per day. Yeah, 50
so
per
it is
day.
not on your invoice
if
value.
If your return is nil, the penalty is ₹20 per day.
Okay. So it is not dependent on what is the volume. It is a flat amount of 50 rupees per day.
A flat amount.
That is per transaction or
No, per day. So if the return of for the month of January, if it is due on 11th of Feb, so as I told you, GSTR 1, there is no penalty as of now, and GSTR 3B due date is say 20th of the next month. And if I forget to file, or if inadvertently I don't file it, so if there's a 10 days delay, then the fine is 500 rupees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. So coming to next question, is there any fixed formula as to how much percentage should be kept for rolling capital?
There is no fixed percentage. Like every business have their own working capital cycles. So working capital is basically what amount you need to discharge, say salary of your employees, electricity bills, rent, all these are your working expenses. So now it depends on every month, what amount you at the end of the month or in between of the month, what is the amount which is you need to pay. So that is the working capital requirement. So it will all depend that amount has to be fixed, kept anytime, free. So, any time if you have to give that payment, your working capital cycle is keeps on moving.
Right.
It all depends. Different industry have their different working capital cycle. So the working capital also depends what is your due date to pay to creditors, when you will receive the payment from your debtors. So, all these parameters are to be taken into consideration to calculate your working capital, and accordingly, that money keeps on rolling.
Right. That's great. So, yeah, I think we have covered many questions, and we have discussed at length regards to tax benefits, regards to business expenses, GST, and maybe in coming days, we might have another sessions wherein in case if you have further queries, we can again reach to Hetal. So thank you, Hetal. Thank you so much for your valuable time. And friends, she has been practicing chartered accountant since 2003. Her specialization is in direct tax, indirect tax, bookkeeping, and GST compliance. So if anytime anybody from you, if you have any query, if you want to get in touch with Hetal, she would definitely help you out, and you can always get back to her. So thank you, LAJA platform, for giving us this wonderful opportunity to guiding and to throw some light regards to tax and finance to our fellow buddies, and hoping to catch up soon with some more insights in the coming days. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and thank you, LAJA. Thanks, Hetal.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you so much. Bye.